Want to see a cast, so I'll just leave it like this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Join Dota League Season 5 Rage Esports up against Goomba Gaming. Currently 1-0 in favour of Goomba Gaming in a 2-game series. This is the round-robin part of the competition where the teams are just fighting against each other for points. So Rage are really looking to equalise here and come out of this on at least equal footing with Goomba. Bans, well, thick and fast they came at last, friends. Juggernaut and Axe bans coming out first of all from Rage Esports. Shadow Fiend and Troll banned out by Goomba, and the pickups, wow, the pickups. It's IO Tiny in the first two coming out from Rage, and Witch Doctor Bristleback coming out from Goomba. This is big. You know, Bristleback, such a great divey hero, can achieve so much, really benefits from heals. Witch Doctor, a great healer, also a great nuker in the right circumstances. But dives are at risk when there's a threat of relocate, especially with a Tiny stuck on the top of it. And Witch Doctor's heals, you know, he's a very squishy hero as well, just the ideal kind of person to be picked off. The catch to that, of course, the big catch, and this was the reason why Witch Doctor was picked up instantly by Goomba the minute that they saw that IO pickup, is that if you relocate in behind a Witch Doctor, think about it, you've got two heroes really close to each other, behind enemy lines, not near a creep wave, coming out of nowhere, throw a cask much, that can mess with IO Tiny so much. It depends how they do the relocate ganks. There are various ways of messing with it. You can try and drag in a creep wave, you can do it just at the back of a fight, but still close enough so that the bounces are more general. Obviously it'll do less once there's a BKB. You can go in, split up, push, and then join back in again just for the relocate out. There's various ways of trying to deal with it, but Witch Doctor, for just a support, is a really huge a really huge ability. Just noticing Crixie putting some stuff up there about the Phoenix egg I did not know. It was the attack slow. Alright. Okay, so yeah, his estimate there, yeah, that they probably did know that heroes could only damage the Phoenix egg. Anyway, that's very good point, Crixie. Come back to that in a bit. Anybody read it in the chat if you want to know it. Now, Medusa and Dazzle banned out for Rage. This draft is going by really fast. Tide and Storm banned out for Goomba. And the pickup so far, Rage getting Vengeful Spirit, which is really going to help out that Tiny, although attack speed would be a more ideal buff. And Goomba picking up Batrider and Disruptor. Now, Goomba have gone for a much more early game draft so far. They definitely don't have the late scale secured for themselves. But they've got some pretty terrifying team fight. If you can get Firefly damage on top of a cask within kinetic field, on top of the Disruptor ult, and then drop the Death Ward down on it, you're doing some pretty terrifying damage. Vengeful Spirit, of course, is going to be doing huge things for IO Tiny. Absolutely huge things. If they start getting into a fight, Tiny gets Ags, picks up some kind of attack speed item, possibly a Maelstrom, possibly just Yasha. But really what I keep coming back to for that is what you really want on Tiny is attack speed. The damage almost takes care of itself. I'm sure plus 25%, it's a percentage based buff, it's good for everyone. But I don't know. I'd like to see. I'm wondering whether I would have preferred an Ogre there, is basically what I'm talking about. And then you could Bloodlust the Tiny, and that maybe would be slightly more effective than just the Vengeful Aura. I don't know. We shall see. Lots of time taken to pick up this Zeus for Rage. Interesting laning there. I was wondering whether we were going to be seeing IO Tiny mid, or whether they might try and mix it up a little bit and do something a little bit different. And I think we might be. Tricky. There's various ways Rage could lane this. Working now on the Goomba ban, and I got to say that the Zeus ult is certainly going to help out very early against Witch Doctor and Disruptor. Also do a decent amount of damage down to Batrider. Whether or not it gives them, it leaves them a little bit exposed. At the moment, the only real tank they've got, the only person who can, you know, go toe to toe or even stand up against Bristleback without serious risk is Tiny, and Tiny's the core. Tiny's the guy that you want just sitting back and farming to come in later, especially with an IO to relocate him around. So I think Rage really need to pick up someone who isn't just going to melt when Witch Doctor and Bristleback and the rest of these Goomba heroes just get together and start rocking down lane. Lots of time being taken out to work out this ban for Goomba, and it's a good I can appreciate why you would take a long time to think about that, because it's kind of strange working this out. To me, Zeus is a classic mid. IO Tiny is most classically a mid combo as well. Obviously, maybe they are doing a tri-lane mid, I don't know, and a safe lane Vengeful Spirit. I'm sure we're going to have lots of estimates in the chat soon, but these lanes are tricky for me because I don't like Zeus much regardless. And when I do like him, he's a mid. But I like IO Tiny as a mid. So, Broodmother banned out by Goomba, Windranger banned out by Rage, and Windranger could have done some real good things here for Goomba. Played on the mid, picked up Mjolnir fairly quickly. Great tower push there, and also some great dive potential as well with the immunity to physical damage that comes out of Windrun. I could have seen that working really, really well. I would probably have been more scared though of a Medusa, because Medusa Witch Doctor is terrifying, and Disruptor has the right kind of lockdown, I think, to guarantee you that Medusa stun. It would have been a very late game pick though, and I've got the feeling that Goomba are more interested in trying to take this game within the first 40 minutes. That's what Batrider Witch Doctor Bristleback says to me, but I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I do also like, of course, we haven't really talked much about the Batrider. I don't know if my friend Gothic is still watching, but he loves this hero. I always talk about Gothic when I talk about Batrider, because like Batrider's face to me, that's Gothic. That's mwahaha. I will gank you and I will pull you into pillars of fire. The question is, who do you go for here? Okay, IO Venge supports, not the ideal targets. Tiny, you're at risk of craggy exterior and just the sheer bulk of the guy messing you up a little bit. It's not a bad idea, but it's a bit more situational. It's not an easy pick-off. Now, Zeus is great. Zeus is absolutely wonderful for a Batrider to pick off. But of course, Zeus wasn't out in the draft yet. So I'm just wondering where what the Batrider's plan is here, and I'm wondering if a large part of it is sheerly for the mobility to get around and help out with the tiny relocates, as well as the counter push and just area denial that can come out of Firefly. And Goomba picking up the Wraith King for their final pick, a position 1 Wraith King. It's actually been a while. I'm not suggesting it hasn't been played, but it's been a while since I've caught a position 1 Wraith King game, so I'm really looking forward to this.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, and a hero I play quite a lot as well, so I can be a little bit personally biased about how the guy builds it, and constantly slag them off, which of course is the privilege and honor of any caster. So final pick here for Rage, and I'm still feeling that they really need to find some tank. I mean, the Zeus ult now is going to do very, very little to Wraith King. That's not going to be something Wraith King ever needs to worry about. It might once or twice pop his ult if things go really badly. And of course, as Wraith King, you always want to try and keep your ult off cooldown so you can die without having to lose a life. But Zeus is not going to be able to just easily nuke down the enemy carry. And Rage go for the next assassin, so definitely going for a more early game, high damage nukey team than I was expecting. I was expecting to at least pick up some kind of maybe a Centaur, maybe a Tidehunter. I'm not sure, may have been bad, but something like that, just to give them a little bit more bulk in these team fights when going up against an awful lot of AoE damage from Cask, from Voodoo Restoration, Quill Spray, Firefly, everything from Disruptor. But no, they're confident. They're going to go in and they're going to take out these enemy heroes before they can even cast their spells, or at least that is the plan. And yeah, just waiting for players to pick up their heroes, and we will be going straight in here for match 2. Alright, now this is a JDL, so traditionally we would have a pause round about now. Don't know if that's going to happen. Wow, it has been a really poor day for cosmetic items. I just want to, like, really, I don't know whether the servers are glitching and not showing all of them or something, but really, really poor. And let's get on with introducing the teams, because it doesn't look like we're going to have a pause. We have got Face on the Witch Doctor, heading over to mid lane right now with the Bristleback. That could be their answer to the potential dual IO Tiny mid. Wraith King heading bottom, going to be played by Stand-In. Chill heading to the offlane Batrider. Very powerful offlaner here. Is in danger of running into these Rage heroes there. And there's quite a crowd. Gets the obs up quickly, leaving the... I like that, leaving the large camp here unblocked. Was spotted out. Is spotted out, but I don't think there's going to be any first bloods taken up on top lane unless Chill makes a massive mistake. So meanwhile, RMN is going to be taking the Bristleback this game, and Disruptor is going to be played by Edie, doing great work on one of my favourites, Earthshaker, so I'm really looking forward to what he does on another one of my favourites, the Disruptor. Over on the Dire side, currently contesting top rune, we have got Flash being played by Io. And hold on the introductions for a moment as we do. This is a great time for cask stuns. Great time for cask stuns. The cask goes down. It's bouncing. It's bouncing back. It's bouncing forth. And another first blood for Goomba. Great play there. You really want to be careful going for these early rune contests against a Witch Doctor, man. Like, cask is just lethal. Just absolutely lethal. And that's first blood down. So back to the introductions. Flash making the, what did they call it? The long, hard, no TP, first blood walk of shame. Much sad there for Flash. Nyx Assassin, going to be played by Hoodoo, taking the off lane. Vengeful Spirit, going to be played by Comrade Squirrel. Backing up Zeus here, going to be played by Mitza. And finally mid, we have got the Tiny. So it is going to be dual lane versus dual lane on the mid. And he's going to be played by Inuyasha. So some lag coming out for face. So a quick pause. And an immediate G. I think RMN called that, which seemed strange as face was still asking, but whatever, all good. The good is go, the go is good. And is this a bit of action up on top as Chill brought fairly low. Now Batrider is one of those heroes, it's glass cannon to the max when he's played in the offlane. He can dish out huge damage, he can take huge damage. It's the ability to path over terrain that gets him out of most offlane style problems. But I don't know if that's... It's going to be difficult in this lane, I think. Zeus, obviously, with just so much magic harass, is going to constantly keep bringing him down to the point where even a Vengeful Stun, which is not a very good stun in terms of lockdown, even a Vengeful Stun is going to just completely finish him off. I do like this Witch Doctor being used on a dual mid, trying to help phase out this this Tiny and Io. Meanwhile, down on bot lane, Edie being brought fairly low, but doing his job, just keeping Hoodoo out of anything, and just trying to stay in each other's shadows. I like that. Drops stun down on stand-in. I think just to slow him up, try and make him miss a last hit. Unfortunately, didn't work. And soaking up the offlane hard camps. That's how you Batrider. Now sees an opportunity here on Comrade Squirrel. Does eat up the stun, but was expecting that. And going to be going for more damage now. If he had Flame Break here, would have a real chance of knocking Venge back onto that fire. Unfortunately doesn't, and pauses again as Zeus looks to be rotating in and phasing him off. Now another pause goes down, as we see a rotation come from... a rotation come out from Flash and Inuyasha. I think they were just going up for the top rune. And now with the rotation in from Cask bearing Witch Doctor and Bristleback are now rotating back through the jungle. Action down on bot lane. Well, we are going to see a DD go down on Nyx. Wow, if he'd got that a few levels later, that could have been huge. Man, I don't like pause screens. Not my favourite thing in the world. Let's have a quick look at the early game items. So one thing we haven't really had a huge look at now. It's 2 minutes in. What are the items like? Decent regen out on all heroes. Io we see rushing a bottle, fairly standard build, and I think that that's rushing a bottle after getting first blooded, and I think buying and sharing out some tangos right at the start. I'm not sure. Wands look to be all over the place. Bristleback already with one. The Witch Doctor will be picking one up shortly, I'm pretty sure. In fact, let's have a look. Probably already has some of it in his stash. No, but only 25 gold off completion. And the G-Call comes out. Bristleback going to give this another try. And hopefully next time we look at the items, there'll be something a little bit more interesting to talk about. Now, the one thing I suppose is Bristleback, of course, Quill Spray is a great way of clearing waves, but I don't think it's enough to guarantee them kills. You can guarantee kills fairly easy with a Witch Doctor if you've got great wave clearance, because if you can clear the wave, you can quite easily find the enemy team kind of pushed far forward, as RMN is brought kind of far forward here, tossed back as well, back into tower range. It's not going to require too many right clicks now to do some serious damage, but he is benefiting now from... He got a quick heal off from his wand. The stun coming out now as well from Comrade Squirrel, and Bristleback is down. Tiny being brought hugely low, but the heals coming out from Io almost keep him alive. He came back in there to drop a stun down. I don't think he needed it. Could have left it all up to Comrade Squirrel. Might have taken a bit longer because I'm assuming it was on cooldown, but I'm pretty sure that would have been a kill either way, and Tiny could have survived it. But 2-2. Wow, that was interesting. Goomba definitely taking the worst of that engagement, and Standing being brought fairly low here by Hoodoo, but actually kind of make up for most of that with just a couple of right clicks. Damn the armor on this guy, and Hoodoo's regen still has 4 tangos, so no big whoop. Vengeful looking to rotate back up onto top lane and help out the Bat Rider up there. Help out against the Bat Rider, I should say. And we might see some interesting plays coming up in about 15 seconds at the 4-minute rune. Seems like Witch Doctor wants to move out there early and get that on lock. RMN is there as well. Oh, and this is a perfect time for a cask. Again, Flash is forced to separate from the Tiny to get rid of that cask. Eating Maledict stuns, pops a wand, and that'll see him out safely. Oh no, running into Chill, who's coming up from the off lane, and that's another kill on the IO. Now, that's bad enough, of course, for Rage. What's really unfortunate about it, though, is, of course, Tiny is not a great midder, let alone against a duel. And for at least one wave now, he's going to be. And that's kind of concerning. Also going to be eating up a hell of a lot of quill sprays here. Honestly, I think this is potentially a kill spot here for Radiant. They can just clear this creep wave and then drop a cask, but not going to happen. And Nyx Assassin finishing off Wraith King down on bottom, finished off in exchange by Disruptor. Missed the action there, but very important. Getting the kill off on Wraith King before he gets to that annoying level 6. Going to be even more useful though, popping the cooldown on the ult, and it's an interesting point. You know, when you kill a Wraith King without popping his ult, as is probably going to happen a few times in this game with Nyx's mana burn. Oh dear, as we see another pause coming out from Goomba. This is looking a little bit squiffy. You know what? C'est la vie. Let's have another look at the items. Why not? Bat Rider already has his tranquils up, boots on almost all heroes, and it looks like Io will be building into an urn. Disruptor with some sentries up, but we've still got the obs up from the start of the game for both teams, so we're not going to be rushing out obs until another minute or so goes by. Zeus with mana boots up already. I'm wondering whether he'll ever bother turning the stick into a wand. I'm not entirely sure he will. And Io. This is very strange, now that I think about it. Was it Witch? Oh no, it was Witch Doctor I was talking about before, who had just enough gold to finish off the wand. New patch not good. It seems to be the case. More obs coming out there for Goomba. And I gotta wonder where they're going to be putting these wards. They've got a team that demands and can certainly sustain a great deal of aggression, but they're also running up against a... Oh dear, action up on top lane. Bat Rider obviously feels that he can do some serious damage here, but being brought hugely low. Zeus without the mana to really go in there and finish him off though. Bat Rider going to be able to rotate out fairly easily, and actually going to be almost in time for top rune if he wants to wait around for it a little bit. Bristleback rotating back into the mid after clearing a couple of jungle camps when the lane was pushed. And it looks like it might just be the supports fighting for this top rune. This really is how Raid should have been playing it before. Send just one hero up to scout out the rune, grab it if you can, but leave it uncastable, is I suppose what the verb would be. But all runes down, bounty for Nyx, and unfortunately that is going to leave the tiny Io combo without a rune. I'm not sure whether Nyx was aware of that, was discussing that with them. Maybe it's amazing for reasons I'm not quite understanding. But either way, a little bit concerning, I think. The toss goes down. Not entirely sure what it was aimed to achieve. And nice dodge on the cast there by Inuyasha, dodging right out. Unfortunately, still manages to knock on one creep. And that's going to give RMN just enough time to finish off the IO. Oh, but finished off there by a nice Nyx Zeus combo. Nice rotation there from the Nyx. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say nice ult from the Zeus, because it's one button. And you just do it when your team tells you to. It's not bad, but let's be honest, it doesn't require skill. It is like the anti-skill shot. Even Nature's Prophet ult needs more skill. Let's Let's be real here, because there you got to time it where you got vision, crap like that. Both Dire Heroes being brought fairly low on this mid. I would be looking at this as like maybe ganky time. Maybe think of ganky time. Inuyasha is being gone on by a solo Witch Doctor. Now Maledict can do a huge amount of damage, and I wasn't around to heal it up, and maybe there could have been something there. Like if Witch Doctor had been 6 and it was a question of, oh Jesus, action going on top and bottom as Batrider finishes off a kill on Zeus and Wraith King finishes the one off on Nyx Assassin. So all of a sudden Goomba looking happy as a double kill goes down for the Bristleback on the mid as well. Wow, I'm sorry guys. Like another one of these games. I'm trying to keep pace with the action here, but it is just all over the bloody place. 41 last hits for the Wraith King as well, so he's been farming up quite happily here. We did have the 1 kill go down on him at level 5. Level 8 now, still no points in his ult, so not risking it, not wasting it rather, I suppose, against the Nyx mana burn. And I like that decision actually. I like that decision. I think that the choice of the Nyx was a potential concern for Wraith King. And lots of Goomba heroes up here. Looks like they want to be going for this ancient stack. Bristle, be confident. That's all I'm going to say. Like, there's a lot here, and he's already low. Stacking up those quill sprays. Witch Doctor is going to be forced to rotate over to the mid. And I think Bristleback's actually... Whoa! That was big. Finishes off the Wraith King down on bottom. But Batrider able to take out the Nyx Assassin. And Chill looking now for Comrade Squirrel. Holy crap. I can't watch what's going on. I was trying to work out there whether Bristleback was going to go down to those Ancients by watching his health bar. Nope, not allowed. There's kills going on the minimap. Oh, lordy. I like this Disruptor farm. Static field. And then the... drop the kinetic field and then the DOT. Run after one way. And the creeps all have to chase you the same way. So they'll all stay grouped up for that DOT damage. Which is exactly what you want. Still haven't seen a rotation out of this IO Tiny yet, which as I understand it is not generally the way you want to be playing this lane. You kind of need to be ganking a lot. Top tower under siege, going to be defended nicely by the Witch Doctor. Action down on bot lane, there was Comrade Squirrel. I caught that one, is finished off by the Disruptor, and now it's Hoodoo in trouble. They do manage to get a kill down on the Wraith King, but he has got his ult now, and he's going to be running in. They've got a sentry, they've got a stun, and that's all they need. Beautiful play there from Goomba. I did technically make both kills there. Technically, we right-clicked in time. Bristleback still working on his stack here, but spotted out by Tiny and Io. Io forced to take a bit of a negative path there to try and get away from the cask. It does see Tiny. It does see Tiny escape, but Io ends up falling. So that's 3 heroes down in quick succession across the map. This is the kind of map dominance and just constant unpredictable pressure that wins games really quickly. 13 for 6 for Goomba. Ancient stacks only just being worked on. Mid is actually free, and I would kind of like to be seeing someone farming that. Like maybe send the Batrider there while Bristleback finishes off this ancient stack. And Wraith King just going to get that tower. Nice and simple. He honestly hasn't done much this game. You know, there's been a couple of scuffles with Nyx. He's died twice, he's killed twice, he's assisted twice. But this is like average Joe Wraith King. Zeus finishing off Bristleback, who brought very, very low by that time spent up at the Ancients. And Tiny eating Death Ward and finished off. Beautiful combo there. Non-carry heroes making the game. Comrade Squirrel drops and obs down up on top of this cliff, keeping some nice vision down here for Dire, and going to be able to spot out any further ancient stacking activities. But you know, once a stack is gone, there's no guarantee that Radiant are going to try and do that again. They can rotate the Bristle out and maybe farm him killing heroes for a while now. It's one of those interesting probability things. If they have already ancient stacked once, what is the probability that they will ancient stack again? It's not certain. You can do it once just for that quick burst, and from then on you're killing heroes. That's certainly a way to do it. There is admittedly a great amount of stack taking potential on the Radiant team, so I do think it's a good plan there from Dire to get that obs up upon reflection. The sentry comes down from Disruptor. Not really sure why it went there though. It would have caught. Oh, nice kinetic field as well as a glimpse. Is going to catch out the Tiny. He's going to be looking to go in now on Edie on the disruptor. Pop static field to block off any chance of retreat. And Flash did come in there to try and help, but ends up being finished off as well. And this is just more gold going the way of this bristleback. It's getting scary. We'll have pipe out on him soon, and that will just be the start. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some really heavy items coming out soon, because he's building up. Well, the pipe was already finished with 700 gold in the bank. Sorry, I didn't see that courier. Dire structures fortified. I don't know whether Hoodoo. Oh no. Vendetta wore out just too soon for him to try and go for a deny steal there. And it's Disruptor who gets the gold. We do have Chill spotting out Comrade Squirrel here. Does not yet have a blink or a full staff, I don't think. Oh no, does have the blink. This should be an easy kill if they want to waste the lasso for it. They don't need it. Make do with the glimpse. Now they've got a chance to get something off that lasso though. Batrider focused a little bit more on farming the jungle. Not necessarily a bad thing, but oh, that tiny kill would be a thing of beauty. Get it down. Chill being brought hugely low with the tiny nukes, and it's not going to be enough. RMN now, just choosing to leave. Glimpse goes down to hold Zeus back a little bit more. And there is a throwdown on Zeus. Huge nukes coming down on this disruptor. The massive, massive chase coming out from Dire. Cask, nice cask from the cliff there from Witch Doctor. Doesn't quite land in range to bounce. But it looks like Dire are in a position now to try and take that tower back. Get some exchange going on. Just noticed Divok joining the 5 people immediately leave. Love you, bro. It's a pleasure to have you here. You're worth 5. I don't really mean it. Relocate! 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 I think that was actually a relocate back. And Tiny's not happy. Does manage to grab a kill on the way out, finishing off that disruptor with just mad cleave damage. Wait, no? Nope, no cleave damage yet. That's strange. I was sure that was a cleave hit that got the disruptor. I guess it's just the added range. So, let's have a quick look at the XP and gold graphs that are coming out now. Goomba actually leveling off a little bit now. And there is a bit of a question mark over the scaling here. It's Bristleback, Wraith King going up against, I suppose, Zeus and Tiny. And that's a big question mark to me, at least just in terms of the core hero draft. But if the draft is a question mark and the early game is definitely in favor of one team, then that team's ahead. So my money's on Goomba so far.
That's for me.
Midza looking to push out this bot lane. But at the same time, Radiant doing a much better job, if we're honest, of pushing out the equivalent top lane. They're going to be able to get this tower down very, very quickly, and their bot tower's got pretty much full health. So they're probably going to be able to rotate back here and actually not lose a thing. Especially if the glyph doesn't go down. Did Dire have glyph? Dire had glyph. And holding them up for 7 seconds there would have been a bit more damage down on this bot tier 1. Like, they had... Sometimes you can say, oh yeah, it doesn't matter, it would just would have held them up for 7 seconds. And sure, you know, it's always good now that the glyph regenerates when a tier 1 goes down. It's always good to pop it, but yeah, it's not a big deal. But when you're currently doing a push and you're doing a kind of tier 1 race, very important to get it down as soon as possible. As we get a beautiful lasso down on this mid, Inuyasha in trouble. The relocate is here though. Io ready to grab him out if needed. Flash being brought hugely low though, finished off by the Wraith King, but it looks like Inuyasha's going to be able to make it out. Oh no, glimpsed back there beautifully, right into a static field. There needs to be another stun coming out though. Wraith King has it if he can just get in range. No, there doesn't. Tiny's finished off regardless. And Standard's able to blink all the way over here, get the stun down on Mitzer instead. Of course, the stun has already gone down. I think he realized the damage would be too big there. And he tried to run off that TP, maybe deny to creeps rather than the Wraith King. Didn't quite make it. But a good call there because that TP was never going to happen. DD Bristle now going straight onto Roche, building up a bit of warpath. Building up a few warpath stacks. And we've got 3 of them in there now, but I think Dire have a clue. As we see Vengeful Spirit getting in range of a wave. The problem is, it's going to spot it out, maybe. But it's just going to lower it. It's not going to be in time, and if anything, it's just going to lower the armor of that Roshan. And there it is. The announcement is made. Vengeful immediately backs up. Io is still moving in a little bit though, and gets caught out by the Wraith King stun. A little bit too aggressive there from Flash. Immediately links over to the Tiny to get out. And we see a lot of damage being done to the Radiant here with, now that Io's out, not much done in exchange. Comrade Squirrel looking for a switch, but there's a kinetic field to keep them at bay. Hoodoo now just farming out mid. Radiant, I think, either need to, well, they need to either group up and push or split up and farm. This is getting a little bit dithery. 129 health on that middle tower as well though, so it's perfectly deniable. Just needs to be spotted. Just needs someone to actually click on it. That's about as close as I've ever seen it, but it is deniable. Let's have a quick look at some of the other, what do you call them, the front rank of towers for each team. The tier 2s over for Dire haven't taken a huge amount of damage yet, it looks like. But the only real damage that's taken, the only real tower that's taken any damage for Radiant is that mid tier 1. Deny it, someone, please! 129 health! Please! Oh ho ho! I guess I can appreciate it. It does graphically look just above what most people associate with a deny level, but you know, you live, you learn. This is what 129 health looks like. This is what deny looks like. Deny it. Bit of a push coming out on top here from Tiny. And of course he's going to be able to do pretty horrific things to towers. Already got the point booster and an Ogre Club out. Not sure why the Ogre Club isn't winging its way to him right now. Nyx obviously has dibs on the courier. But one way or another he's going to be doing huge damage to this tower. And in fact it's basically down. We also see the Radiant push though going down on a tier 2. And of course you want to exchange tier 1s for tier 2 when you can. Bristleback getting the deny. Was that an illusion deny? Well played, Bristleback. But overall that is still 2 tier 1s for almost a tier 2 now, and that's not great. And add on to that the fact that Tiny hasn't slowed down one bit and is actually doing a very, very good job down here. Mass TPs to get him though. I think he paused for a second too long there. There's Cask. He's going to bring him in range of Glimpse, and that was too aggressive there from Inuyasha. We do have the relocate. What the hell happened there? Relocate landed in... Wow, that was huge. Relocate landed in the middle of Glimpse. So Tiny was relocated completely out of the fight and then glimpsed back into it. That was insanely bad luck there for Rage. That was almost a beautiful IO save that would have seen him sacrifice his own life for the carry. Exactly how you play it. Oh, but the fight's still going on over on bot lane. Didn't realize this was happening as RMN has finished it off first as Zeus and now has a great chance now on Comrade Squirrel. And this is a huge snowball here for Goomba. Like, that tiny IO glimpse thing was weird. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. There was no glitch, there was no problem, there was no, you know, exploitation there, but it was weird. It's the fact that the glimpse has that delay on it. You cast it on it, and then there's that weird blue floaty animation, and then they are glimpsed back. So Disruptor had cast glimpse, Io came in, got the relocate off perfectly, but while the blue floaty ball thing was still going on, so Tiny goes straight back in. Beautiful, well, I'm not going to say beautiful play, because that was a child of chance there, in all honesty. But, oh, maybe I'm wrong, though. Actually, in fairness, I might be wrong. It may have been intentional. Certainly you do pick up the Disruptor to mess with the IO in general. That's not the traditional way of doing it. The traditional way is to mess up a relocate gank by sending someone back to where they relocated from. It's not quite what happened. Well, I get... You know what, whatever. There's a push going on mid. It was really complicated. Go back and watch it when it's on YouTube. But it was really cool and really interesting, and another reason why you should pick Disruptor into an IO. Goomba pushing down mid, stand in here, armlet up, blink up. He can be the blink initiator for his team, even as a position 1 now. And that's supported by the fact that, yeah, Bristleback's now gone for Sanjin Yasha. This is right-click, true core Bristle, rather than a Bristle who just tanks up and tries to distract for his team, getting quill sprays on. This one can right-click. Dare I even say it, because it has been seen. Are we going to see the Battle Fury Bristleback? Beautiful stun there from Hoodoo. Lands straight onto with a blink and then perpendicular stun. But we've got a nice use on Chill's lasso there. Is going to render basically useless. Comrade Squirrel is brought low, and Bristleback does fall. That's the Aegis popped. Standing now, covered by this kinetic field and static storm. is actually blinked out of danger.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
And they get the tier 3. Hoodoo goes really, really deep there looking for a stun. And RMN takes this as a signal to re-engage, but it's difficult. Inuyasha finishing off Batrider in the meanwhile, and I think that was a mistake from RMN. Or maybe not, as they do manage to get locked down on Inuyasha, but he's so tanky and he's got such cleave. That's 3 for nothing. There's a glimpse coming out from Edie, which is going to... Oh, that was wonderful from Inuyasha. Manages to get the stun off on the Witch Dog to secure the kill before he's glimpsed back. And Disruptor pops the smoke for the movement speed to get away. So great play there from Rage. They did lose their tier 3, but no damage down on the racks yet. Nothing significant anyway. Divok desperately trying to get some chat going in the Twitch chat. It's been a quiet day, man. These are exciting matches. I think everyone is just 120% focused. Dire, I can only assume, rotating down to this bot for... I was going to say for Roche, but no, they're taking the final tier 1 of the game. Never mind. Good play there from Rage. And this Tiny's beginning to be really scary. He's got 3,000 gold in the bank from that little killing spree he had up on the mid lane, and already has his Ags up as well. Next Assassin gets finished off by the Batrider on the mid, probably being too aggressive, but making space for his team. Not sure it's space his team really needed, because I kind of think they would have got that tower down regardless, but it was space. The space was created. Tiny now just going to farm up the Radiant jungle because he's a douche. The real douche move, of course, is to leave just one creep, but unfortunately he has cleave, so that's difficult. Oh no, chill. Did you think you were... Oh. He's crying tears of tears, I guess. Tears of tears. Yeah, so much rage in the pings coming out from Radiant here as they realise their entire jungle has just been snaffled. Has respawned now though, so they can head back in with only a small part of complaining. Of course, no Firefly for Bat, which is going to be slightly annoying, but he is going to be able to go up there and grab a Bounty Rune, which makes up for it ever so slightly, at least in terms of mana. Rage seem to be grouped up on mid. This doesn't really make much sense. This is a Tiny build, so you want... if I were them, I would put Tiny on the top. They've got all the external towers down on top, so unless they're pushing it hard, it's a place Tiny can just farm, have access to the jungle if it gets pushed, and that's great. Then keep the IO with the Tiny and run the other 3 pushing mid, or just distraction or whatever. But you've got a wonderful global strat here where you can bring your carry to you, and yet they seem to be hanging around with the carry, and that isn't making the best use of it. It's a bit like, you wouldn't farm near a Spectre. You leave Spectre to farm, you go over to the other end of the map, Spectre haunts in. Great, capiche. Beautiful. Respawn on the Diacuria. I'm sorry I missed that. What does it have on it? Nothing, so no huge loss, but that's going to have been very annoying for Rage there. We do have an attempted... they're going to go for a blink gank here on the next Assassin, and they get the silence down, so this will be very, very quick. The only real downside here, of course, is they did use up the Disruptor ult, and that's going to be down for another 70 seconds just as they want to push high ground. But that's probably mitigated by the fact they've already got the tier 3 down on this lane. And we are seeing some immediate defensive buybacks coming from Rage. Cask goes out. This creep wave doesn't have a lot of time left. Honestly, I think I would have kept a hold of Cask. This is a minor point, but I think I would have kept a hold of Cask. Pipe is popped. They are going for the melee rack, so if Dire can force them off right now, then they can do this without any huge problem. Io is here to back up the Tiny, getting the overcharge attack speed on. Standing brought low, still has his ult of course, and the kinetic field there to cover the escape. Well played. Tiny could... I think Tiny needs to go blink. I think it might be that kind of game, because those kinetic fields are blocking off from any possible push. Chill picks up a haste rune, but Radiant have got to check Roche here. Disruptor just possibly doing a bit of dewarding first. I don't think Radiant checked Roche. I don't think they know he's up. So that's a wee little bit of a problem there for them. They do have a line here though on the IO, and he's picked up, he's lassoed. But again, I'm going to be fair, because I was picking Rage up about this in the first match. When you rotate 4 people to kill a support, and you're splitting the gold and the XP 4 ways, I'm always it's not a clear advantage if the other team are doing great farming on, you know, on two completely free lanes, for example. It's a bit 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
And I mean, if you think about it, for all 4 of these heroes, there's been one wave of creeps farmed since they got that kill, because they are just so grouped up. They are just going to rush straight into Roche. Now the closest Diorobs I think is here, but I don't think any of them came in range of that, so I think they're going to be safe. They've got a nice sentry up here to block off some of the other common spots, as well as this one here. They really do not want to take any chances of getting initiated on by Tiny while they're already low from Roche, as there's not a huge amount they could do to stop that. But with this Aegis, they are, I think, gonna, on the Bristleback, they're gonna get a really useful tool for dealing with the biggest part of Rage's game right now. And the biggest part of Rage's game is the BKB on the Tiny. That makes him immune to so much for the duration that it's up. It almost makes me think, and I'm wondering if we're going to see it actually. I think we will. We're going to be seeing Ag's Disruptor if they can manage it. Yeah, 100%. If they can get Ag's Disruptor and make it so that the Tiny actually can't activate BKB in fights, that will be huge. Big initiation here though from Dire. It's not working out for them as Standing just turns around and immediately nukes down the IO. Has been caught out though. Standing over with the rest of the Dire team does have his ult, so it's really just a question of do Goomba want to re-engage. We've got the cast coming down, followed out by the Death Ward. It's going to take care of Comrade Squirrel, who just managed to get the switch off in time. RMN has come in here, but gets tossed down onto Standing, and that's a death. The question now is RMN. He does still have the Aegis. He's going to be able to finish off Mitza without too much problems. Just one more right click. Now, can they catch Inuyasha, or at least push off this? Make certain of one lane, maybe take another. I think the answer's got to be push. Inuyasha has decent movement speed now. Has he picked up a... No big move. Oh, middle rack's already down just to creeps in the meantime. And they're in the base, so there's no backdoor protection on this bot tier 3. Tiny really needs to be out there doing stuff for his team. At least clearing these creeps. All he needed to do there was keep clear the creeps out of the high ground. And that would have been enough to save this tower any damage. As it is, what's that? A third of its health has gone down, and you can't be throwing that away when you've already lost one lane of racks. It may seem like not much, but even without winning a big team fight now, Goomba just needs to get 2 more similar kind of pushes where they just get 10 seconds on the tower. If they can get that 2 more times, they've got another lane of racks, or at least an open rack. Scary business. This nice obs coming out here from Vengeful Spirit is going to spot out the Bristleback. Illusions immediately popped, and of course he knows they've got vision of him because of the creep wave, so he's just going to back off into the trees. Nyx Assassin is expecting it. And we are possibly going to see a kill shortly here on this Bristleback, as he sees his use and starts to go in. Got someone knocking at the door as well. So this could be difficult. We get the blink black from Mitsura. RMN finishes him off. They did have to use the disruptor ult there, but that might be exactly what they need to push down this this final tier 3. This is the tensest part of the match here. Easily the most crucial part of the match, as Chill is looking for the pick off here on Hoodoo, who gets glimpsed back, and that's going to be enough to take care of the tier 3. The racks are falling. RMN and Standing don't look like they're going to be slowing down. The stun goes down on Inuyasha, but it's wasted. He's still full health. Switched out of a leash. The Death Ward goes down. Now that's something that can hurt him. Half health down on Inuyasha, and then really quickly to finish off the rest of the supports who are still hanging around. Comrade Squirrel finished off there by the Batrider, and Inuyasha glimpsed straight back into trouble. That is a full team wipe coming out from Goomba. Excellent play. They actually managed to take that 5-0 with a great high ground aggression there, and they're going to get the racks before the GG call finally sees the Dire Ancient explode. And wow, that's it. 2 points for Goomba. That was an absolutely excellent game. Let's just have a quick look at what the final figures are for these teams. So yeah, I think the IO Tiny was just a little bit too greedy there for Rage, especially against the high gank that was coming out from Goomba Gaming. Whereas Goomba were running, I don't know what to really call it. It's a very flexible draft. It can gank, it can team fight, it can split push, it can do a lot of things very effectively, and it has the hard scale in Race King, which may have struggled if the game had gone on to 50, 60 minutes, but did absolutely great up until now. So many thanks to anybody who's been tuning in on stream. We've had a great day here. Done 2 big games and had some wonderful chat in the Twitch chat as well. Please do follow, subscribe, and check out my YouTube as well. These matches will be going up there later on today. And yeah, check me out next time. So have good games for yourself, and yeah, see you on the flip side.